is that you have shared the video. So do me the favor, share the video so that more people will learn, and then also do yourself the favor of standing a good chance of winning a data subscription prize tonight. Thank you very much. So I was saying that the topic tonight is, can someone date during a judicial separation? And I was going to tell us what a judicial separation is. So, judicial separation is a process, a procedure, a situation where a couple, a married couple, obtain an order of court, obtain authorization from the court for both of them to live apart, for both of them to live separately. It is a situation where the court authorizes the both of them, that's a couple, to live separately from each other, usually for a given period. So what it means is that while ordinarily in marriage, a couple will, live together, cohabitation is one of those things that you expect in a marriage, right? So if in the course of that marriage, there is a strain, there is dispute, there is some sort of conflict between the parties, things have deteriorated to the point where they think, no, we can no longer continue to live together. But for some reasons, they want to still give that marriage a chance. They don't want to totally sever the relationship. They don't want to dissolve the marriage, but they want to give each other some space, possibly in the hopes of seeing if things can, get back on track after some time. But the marriage has actually broken down irretrievably, as the law says. Then they can apply to the court and ask the court to make a pronouncement of an order, decreeing judicial separation. And what it means is that during the pendency of that order, both of them can now live apart from each other without either of them claiming desertion. So it will no longer be easy for one to say the other deserted him or her, so long as that being apart is premised on an order of court for judicial separation. So what it means is that in that period, they have a license of court, an order of court, authorizing them to stay apart. But they will still be legally married. So, as against a dissolution of marriage, which is a divorce, which actually severs the union, which dissolves it, which terminates it, a judicial separation only kind of temporarily severe things between parties, but not to the extent of dissolving the marriage. They remain legally married, except that they have the authorization of court to stay apart from each other. And then in the course of the court granting that authorization, which is a decree for judicial separation, the court will also make pronouncements on a few other things, which may include the custody of children, where there are children involved, or maybe how assets, how properties between parties may be shared. So those are some of the decisions the court can make. The court will make similar decisions as the court would ordinarily make during a divorce, except that the court does not terminate the marriage. So that is what a judicial separation is. It means that during the pendency of that separation, both parties cannot remarry because they are still legally married to each other. It means that during the pendency of that separation, if something happens, God forbid, for example, either of the parties die, it means that the other party will survive the dead party. It means that the other party will still have a right to inheriting the deceased party. That's what it means. So it means that they are both still married to each other, except that they have the permission of court for both of them to stay apart from each other for some time. And usually it is an opportunity to see if things can be worked out again between the parties, if they can be able to, resolve whatever their differences is, maybe in the period of staying apart, assuming one is abusive, for example, it may be a time for that person to go through therapy. It may be a time for, either of them or both of them to work on their weaknesses, those shortcomings that has caused the strain in the union. It may be a time for them to rethink things and, make better efforts at resolving their differences. It could be. It may just be time for them to, let down their hair and just take a breather and get back into the steam of things. But then sometimes it may not quite work out that way, and then parties decide to go their separate ways eventually. So, but during that judicial separation, since parties have been authorized by the court to live apart from each other, can one of them date another during that time? That's the question. That's what we're considering tonight. And in answering that question, I need for us to remember, like I've said, that though they are living apart from each other, they are still legally married to each other. So what it means is that since they are still legally married, either of them dating another will have legal implications. And what are those likely legal implications if one of them dates another person? Number one, it may occasion a situation where the person who is dating another gets exposed to facts, circumstances, or situations that can be used against him or her during a possible custody review. What do I mean by that? Now, I had said to you that during the pronouncement for a judicial separation, one of the things the court will do will also be to make, pronouncements, for example, on the custody of a child or of children, if there are any involved. Now, where that has been made, the law permits for either of the party to come back to the court for the court to review some of those orders made, whether it is orders for custody or orders for maintenance, things like that, or even orders for access. If one party starts dating another person, it is possible that some of the things that may happen in the course of dating another person may be a reason, or may be a ground, or may be facts that the other person can use to say, "My lord, this woman that you have granted custody of those children is allowing strange men into the home, and I don't want my children or our children being exposed to these strange men. They may become bad influence on them. Therefore, I don't think she's still fit to keep these children in her custody." Or the woman can come to say, "No, this man is beginning to habit other people in the home, people who may be setting immoral examples for our children, or people who are maltreating our children, or people who are introducing our children to a different orientation that does not, suit the orientation we have raised them with and choose to raise them with." It can be any of those things. It can even be that one party will say, since the past 1 year, he or she has been spending so much money holidaying with a lover, and he has rarely had time to pay attention to the children, and he hasn't even paid for the children's maintenance. Meanwhile, he's maintaining a lover. So we want the custody or maintenance or something reviewed based on those facts. So it actually may expose the person dating another to facts or situations that may be used against him or her in a possible custody review. That's one. Then two, it may also result in a pregnancy. Because one of the things that happen when people date is that they may get intimate and have sexual intercourse. And where that happens, they may get careless and not use protection, and pregnancy occurs. Where pregnancy occurs, does that not tell us that there is already a ready, this one is not a visible, a ready fact that can be used against the party who has fallen pregnant? Mind you, a judicial separation is not a dissolution of marriage. So it means that the chances of that marriage being restored depreciates by the occurrence of such a possibility. Then the other will be that it may also be evidence, just like in the case of pregnancy, but not restricted to that, where it may, serve evidence or furnish facts which the other party may use to prove an allegation of adultery, where he or she finds that intolerable. So it means that though they are living apart, but they are still married. So by the time one party starts dating another, the reason why the other party now goes back to the court to say, "My lord, we want this converted to a dissolution of marriage," is no longer just because parties have been apart for a certain period. Remember in one of the episodes of the late night intercourse, I had told us that some of the conditions for a dissolution, just as for a judicial separation, will include things like parties have, been apart for about a year or 2 years or 3 years. The situations differ. So it will no longer just be enough that one party comes back to the court to say that we've been apart for this extended period, and that means that the marriage has, failed or broken down irretrievably, so let's just dissolve it already. But one party will now possibly have the further ground, the further evidence to say the other party has been unfaithful, the other party has committed adultery, and he or she finds that adultery intolerable. So it may actually create room for that fact allegation to be established. Then the other will be that it may also cause undue distraction. In the course of a judicial separation, since the marriage has not been dissolved, it means that there is still a chance, no matter how slim, that that marriage can be restored. But when one party starts dating another person, the chances of making conscious efforts that may eventually yield a resolution of the differences between the parties and the possible restoration of that marriage will become slimmer. It may cause distraction. And because of that distraction, the cheating party may no longer pay attention to work at the things that would have helped heal whatever the wounds caused by the marriage are, and maybe restore things to what they were or even better. So it can actually cause a distraction that may negate the chances of, a restoration of that marriage happening. So should one date another during a judicial separation or not? I think your guess is as good as mine. And while it is not quite right for one to date during a judicial separation, as we have learnt from the reasons I have canvassed here, what are the things I would recommend that somebody does during a judicial separation? Number one, I think that the period of a judicial separation is a period for self-evaluation and also for an evaluation of the marriage. Like, you can call it a post-mortem of that marriage, but it may not quite be a post-mortem in that sense, since we are hoping that that marriage may still be revived. It should be a period when parties sit back and go through the events of the marriage, the circumstances that led to their separation. Why did we go apart? What did I do that offended him, or what did he do that offended me? What are the things we both found intolerable or that caused this strain? Are there things we can work at? Are there things we can settle? Are there things we can improve on? What could I have done differently? What concessions am I willing to make in the event of a reconciliation? That should be what that period of judicial separation should be about. It should be a time when parties, do some introspection, evaluate themselves, reflect on what has happened, how they may have contributed to it, how they could have helped avert it, what they may do differently if given another chance. That's number one. Number two, it should be a period for self-care. It should be a period where each party take time to think about themselves and help themselves and care for themselves. And of course, get some therapy if possible. Because sometimes the toxicity, the strain, all of the conflicts, the things that snowballed into the separation happening may have caused some trauma on either of them or on both of them. So it should be a time where they take some time to take care of themselves, get the rest they deserve, exhale, play, take a vacation, pay attention to themselves, take on a new game or a sport or something, hang out, relax with friends. That's what it should be. It should be a period of healthy relaxation. Visit a spa possibly. Those are the things that should be happening during a judicial separation. Number three, it should be a time to build a skill or build one's career, or strengthen a skill if one had a skill previously, or even strengthen one's career. It should be a time when you're thinking of maybe writing professional exams. It should be a time when you're thinking of taking up a new skill. It should be a time when you're thinking of honing a talent you have. It should be a time when you are paying attention to self-development, career-wise, or to even improve one's financials. So it shouldn't be a time to chase shadows. No, it should be a time for improved self-development. Then it should also be a time for one to bond with the children where there are children in the marriage. Because sometimes during the strife that led to that judicial separation, it's possible that both or either have gotten overwhelmed with all the trouble, with all the wahala, with all the fight, that they haven't paid optimum attention to the children. So that will be a good time, whether you are in custody of the children or you only have access to them. It will be a good time for you to pay attention to them, bond with them better, let them see the sweet side of you, let them see the caring parents that you are. Let them see you, away from all of the fights, from all of the quarrels. Pay attention to them. They may also be undergoing trauma caused by all of what happened between you and your spouse. So it could be a time to also get the children therapy. It could be a time to help them heal from the impact of all of the quarrels both of you exposed them to. It may be a time for you to pay attention and explain to them what is happening between daddy and mommy and how it does not affect your love for them. That's what you should be doing then. And it should also be a time when you decide and plan for your future. So if you have come to terms maybe during the point of evaluation that no, this is nothing I want to go back to, that's the marriage, Or you've come to the point where, oh, I think I goofed, I could have done things better. If I had done A or B instead of C, we wouldn't be having this outcome that we have today. Whichever it is, if you lie to everybody else, you can't lie to yourself. So it should be a time when you are telling yourself, in view of all the evaluations I have done, in view of the decisions I have reached, in view of all of this, I want this marriage back, or I'm done with this marriage. Whichever it is your call. It is your life. You're the one wearing the shoes. And when you make that informed decision, your next steps should be in line with bringing to effect those decisions. Where you want that marriage restored, you should begin to take active steps to see that that happens. And yes, that order for judicial separation can actually be vacated by the court, and the marriage will resume as if nothing happened ever. And both of you will live happily ever after. But where for whatever reasons both of you don't want to come back together, or either of you don't want to come back together, then it's a time to decide to do a clean end of things. Terminate it and go for a divorce. And that may then be a safe time for you to consider dating another if you so desire. So those are my thoughts on whether one can date another during a judicial separation. And yes, my people, you know the drill. It's an intercourse, which means that it's a symbiotic relationship. It's a conversation. I talk to you, you listen to me, and then I also listen to you to hear your questions or to take your comments. Whichever it is, this is your time. So I'll be checking our platforms to see if there are any questions, to see if there are any comments. I'm checking to see. Thank you, Isaac. Isaac says it's a fascinating topic. Thank you, Isaac. I'm glad you find it fascinating. Whoa, my big mama. Today, Nayokono. Good evening, ma. Good evening. Good evening, ma. My chair. I'm very loyal, ma. Oh, she says amazing and very impressive. Thank you so much, ma. I appreciate that. And thank you for taking your time to join us. I'm glad you're here. Owonyawachuku Mike says very educative. Yeah, Yobuna, thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us. Ijoma Akahara, my sister, she says very impressive. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you all find it impressive. I'm glad you find it interesting. Oh, sorry, Leo. Leo says he has a bad network and it's affecting him. Oh, so sorry, Derry. But I hope you're able to hear us. I hope you heard the points I have listed. So, and if you can, if you may, I will appreciate if you just let me know where you're watching from. You can just type in the comment section. Just tell me, you're in Aba, you're in Abuja, you're in Lokoja, wherever it is you're watching from. I'd like to know. Just say that in the comment section. Please just help me say that in the comment section. I'll be most grateful. Thank you. And I hope you have shared the video, because it will be generous if you find something valuable, something interesting, something enlightening, and you share it with others so that they also learn with you. And also remember that sharing qualifies you to winning, even tonight. So for those who would rather just call in and ask the question, the number to call is 090-80-000-633. I'll repeat it, 090-80-000-633. And you may also send your question as a WhatsApp message on that line. And if you'd rather just drop it in the comment section here, you're most welcome. I'll take it and I'll respond. So I'm looking and checking to see if anybody has a question for us or someone has a comment that shares an opinion on the conversation topic. Let's see who is with us on YouTube. Maybe they have something they're saying there. It is an intercourse, which means that it's not just about me talking, it's also about you talking to me. I'm checking to see if there's a comment, if there's a comment. Okay, I do not see a comment. I do not see a comment. Let's check to see if we have a comment or a question on any other of our platforms. We're checking to see. It will not be right to ignore anybody's question if there is any. So I'm checking across the platforms to see if there is any question. Okay, I can't find any question, sorry. And yeah, you know the drill. When you don't ask me a question, that means I'll have to ask you a question. When you don't, okay, I see some people are watching from Lagos, watching from Port Harcourt, watching from Enugu. Oh, Benin. Awesome. Okay, there's a question from Leo. Leo says his own is simple. If children are not yet involved, no need for this long process of judicial separation. Okay, it's a comment, not a question, that he will suggest a direct divorce. To know your woman is freely moving around while you are burning sexually in the name of judicial separation. I don't like it all. Well, Leo, no one says that everybody who is undergoing a judicial separation or who has undergone a judicial separation will be cheating or doing something like that. Nobody has said that. We're only just saying that. Oh, one of my sisters is watching from New York. Thank you, sis. Thank you, sis. God bless you. Nice to have you. So, nobody says they will definitely be, intimate with another person. Not necessarily. Some people use that as a time to just clear their head and take a breather from all of the pressure that the marriage may have occasioned on them. So, and there are times when in that period of judicial separation, whether children were involved or not, some of the bloated ego will find depletion and parties may just be able to come back together. So there are times where it helps. It may be recommended instead of people just saying we want a clean, break, a final break. And then there is a question. He says, if the marriage was consummated in a traditional way, and maybe a man wants to walk away when he's fed up with the marriage, and the woman wants a judicial separation, which one will prevail? Traditional method or court method? What will prevail will be the marriage the parties entered into. If they entered into a statutory marriage, if one of them files for a judicial separation, then the court will have jurisdiction to hear that judicial separation and that will prevail. But if they do not have a statutory marriage and they were married under native law and custom, it is not compulsory that they go through a judicial separation. Either of them can walk away, because just as there is provision for a judicial separation, the law realizes and acknowledges that sometimes parties may just separate without awaiting for a court to make a pronouncement on it. But the danger in that may just be that when parties take a walk by themselves without a court making a pronouncement, they may be unable to reach agreements on certain issues, especially issues around children and property, whether for maintenance or for custody or for things like that. But when a court, guides them through that process, the court has the authority and can make decrees or can make orders that are enforceable as against the parties, doing that between themselves. Because sometimes, the few times when they're even able to reach that agreement, they may not be able to enforce it because one of them may renege on the decisions, the agreements reached. I don't know if that answers that question. So thank you so much, Pato AJ. Oh, thank you, Aital. Thank you, Nele. Thank you, everyone, for your kind comments. So, having answered that question and not seeing another, I think this will be the time when I ask you my own question. And maybe this is where you now change the soundtrack and say na 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 na. So I hope you've all been taking notes, because this is now when the lecturer will ask the examination question, and whoever wins by answering correctly will either just take the first prize, which will be a 5,000 Naira data subscription, or consolation prizes, which I may avail 1, 2, or 3 people of 2,000 Naira data prizes each. As usual, fastest finger. So, my question will now be, what are some of the dangers, some of the risks of dating another during a judicial separation? Give me at least 3. And if you're the first person to give me that answer correctly, you win my 5,000 Naira data prize. Your time starts now. I'm waiting and checking to see who gives me that answer correctly. I'm waiting and checking to see who gives me that answer correctly. The first person that comes through with an answer wins. Aha! Mr. Ekbete has just submitted his answer. Whoa! He actually gave me 4 instead of 3. And Mr. Ekbete says that the dangers of dating another during a judicial separation is that, 1, it may occasion a situation to expose the person to facts and proceedings for custody or maintenance. It may result in pregnancy that may jeopardize reconciliation. It may be evidence or furnish facts of allegation of adultery, and it may cause undue or unhealthy destruction. Your answers are correct, Mr. Ekpete, but you gave me 4 instead of 3 answers. Now Leo Smart gives me his answer, and he says it may expose one to facts that can negatively affect the future and custody of the children. It brings undue and unhealthy distraction to the person. It may result in pregnancy, which may hinder the possibility of reconciliation. Fantastic. And I'll say that Mr. Smart has won the first prize because he gave me 3 answers like I asked for, and his 3 answers are correct. Congratulations, Mr. Leo Smart. Congratulations, congratulations. And Mr. Anthony Ekpete, your answer is correct. The 4 dangers you listed are absolutely correct. Unfortunately, you exceeded what I asked for. I asked for 3 answers. You gave me 4. So, because of that, you will win a consolation prize. Thank you so much. And then the other answers I've gotten. Isaac, yes. Isaac says it may expose the person to facts that can negatively affect them in a child custody or maintenance review. Awesome. It may result in a pregnancy that may jeopardize possible reconciliation. True. And it may cause an unhealthy distraction to the person. Thank you very much, Isaac. Isaac goes ahead to actually list some recommended actions. Whoa! I have brilliant students in class tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. And then ONYENUCHEYA-UKO Mike says there might be pregnancy or one can even be infected. Wow. So that means that I have a student in class who has been thinking even beyond what the teacher has said. And that's good. That's impressive, Mike. Because by this, he has told us that he quite understands the subject, he understands the lessons, and it has got him thinking, and he realizes that something that can expose a person to pregnancy may also expose that person to a possible infection. And he's absolutely correct. Though I didn't say that, that's a correct inference to make from what has been said tonight. So that means that I have 3 people who have won consolation prizes, and they are ONYENUCHEYA-UKO Mike, Torrentikaza Isaac, and Anthony Ekbete. Congratulations to the 4 of you. That's including our star prize winner, Leo Smart. Congratulations. Thank you very much for participating. I'm not quite happy that there is no woman who won a prize tonight. I'm not very happy about that. I expect that as our men are participating and answering questions and winning, the women are also answering questions to win. What happened? Why are the women not participating? Yeah, you're in class. I've seen some of you make comments and commend the lecture. Thank you, I like that. But why are you not participating and winning? I'm not happy no woman won. But it's okay. I mean, whoever has earned it deserves it. So if the men have won it, they absolutely deserve it, and they will get their prizes. So as I've said, we have 4 winners from tonight. Our star prize winner for the 5,000 Naira data subscription is Leo Smart, and then the consolation prizes will go to Mr. Anthony Ekbete, Isaac Torrentikaza, and ONYENUCHEYA-UKO Mike. Congratulations to all our winners. And you know, I always like that you sat in class, you participated in this intercourse. Beyond the data price subscriptions, you are all winners just for this opportunity for us to share ideas, to learn, to improve knowledge. We're all winners just for doing that. And it's always a delight for me to enjoy this intercourse with you, where we engage our minds and learn more on subjects within the family law spectrum. Thank you for keeping my company tonight. Thank you for this intercourse. And I'll be looking forward to having you join me again same time next week on another episode of the Late Night Intercourse. And please, don't hesitate to send me in your suggestions of discussion topics. If there's anything you'd like to learn about, if there's anything you'd like for me to talk about at the next episode, don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. One of the episodes where we took the conversation on surrogacy was informed by, suggestions from 2 people who said they would like for us to talk about that. So please, if there's anything you'd like for us to talk about, share that with me. You can just post it on the comment section. You can also just post it, send it to us by email, latenightintercourse@gmail.com. You can send it to me on WhatsApp, on Facebook Messenger, and you can also send it as a WhatsApp message on the number 09080000633. From any of those medium, I'll get it, and I promise you, it will be my delight to treat it and enlighten all of us the more. I believe that if we're more informed, our relationships within the domestic spaces, our marriages, our relationships in the home, our personal lives will thrive better, and the society will be the better for it. Thank you so much. From me, Chioma ONYENUCHEYA-UKO, the Zest family lawyer, do enjoy a pleasant night rest. Good night.